We are all aware that when traveling abroad, one must follow the laws and customs of the country being visited. Obviously, drug smuggling, spying, and other criminal conduct will result in either a large fine or a longer than planned stay in prison. It is self-evident that if you break the law while abroad, you will face the local judicial system. However, there are some unexpected ways to get into trouble while traveling abroad. Tourists have been punished or imprisoned for partaking in what many of us would consider ordinary vacation activities. Over-tourism has caused the Italians, for example, to begin fining tourists in order to restore a sense of decorum to their cities, while wearing swimsuits in public or walking on a banknote might find you in hot water elsewhere. Here are 5 unexpected laws that you should not break on your next international travel. After watching this video, comment down below on what you think the most ridiculous on this list is. Number 10. Bringing the souvenir. Who hasn't brought home a shell or a pebble from a beach vacation? Local authorities in Cornwall got so concerned about the environmental impact of thousands of tourists snatching beach pebbles that they began issuing steep fines. In 2018, a tourist was forced to travel hundreds of kilometers to return pebbles he had collected from the beach in order to avoid a £1,000 charge. Authorities in Sardinia have taken a similar attitude toward tourists who remove sand from their beaches. While the above souvenir hunters appear to be relatively innocent, there are those who are nothing short of vandals, such as the tourist who took a chunk out of the Colosseum in Rome to remember his travels, or the woman who thought it was perfectly acceptable to lift a couple of tiles in Pompeii to take home as a souvenir. Perhaps they haven't heard the common responsible tourism adage, take just photos, leave only footprints. Number 9. Public dining in Florence. Wandering through Florence, Italy, eating gelato or sitting in the piazza eating pizza for lunch appears to be a perfectly common vacation activity. However, as is common in many renowned Italian attractions, the locals of Florence have grown tired of the crowds, picnicking tourists obstructing entrances, sitting on church steps, and frequently leaving quite a mess behind them have become not only irritating, but have also begun to harm some significant tourist attractions. Initially, authorities began hosing out the church steps and cobblestones favored by tourists each lunchtime in an attempt to address the problems caused by picnickers. When this failed to dissuade visitors from eating outside during lunch and supper hours, the city issued fines ranging from €150 to €500. As a result, when visiting Florence during mealtimes, you must now dine inside a restaurant or cafe. Number 8. Biking or going shirtless in Venice. Venice has also begun to levy fines to ensure that tourists behave properly. The city is implementing several new restrictions, including a prohibition on appearing shirtless or wearing swimsuits within the canal precinct. Even if you are sunbathing yourself on a boat in the lagoon, being dressed inappropriately might result in a €500 fine. Riding a bike through the city may appear to be a cheap way to get around, but not when you consider the €100 fine for cycling through Venice. In an effort to alleviate the problems caused by dirty visitors, Venice, like Florence, has introduced fines for eating in public in the key tourist areas. These may appear to be minor violations, but if you do not comply with the city's new laws, you will be barred from entering Venice for life. Number 7. Taking a bath in a Roman fountain. Cooling off in a Roman fountain may appear to be the ideal summer activity. Even hanging your feet in a fountain will now result in a hefty fine. Rome, like Venice and Florence, is cracking down on rowdy tourists. Officials are establishing decorous dress guidelines for tourists, as well as prohibiting sitting on fountains, steps, or even the ground to have an Italian picnic. In an effort to discourage tourist vandals, the city has now prohibited bathing in any of the fountains. It's understandable to find visitors who strip down to their underwear to swim, but merely putting your feet in the water violates the new local rules. A splash in the famed fountains will set you back €450. Number 6. Tips for hiking in flip-flops. Are you planning a trip to Cinque Terre, an Italian beach resort, this summer? Remember to bring your hiking boots. That's correct. Wearing sandals or flip-flops in certain areas of the popular coastal resort will result in a €4,000 punishment. Local rescue squads have grown increasingly dissatisfied with having to save unprepared tourists. Many visitors take a stroll between the seashore towns, unaware that the paths connecting the settlements are difficult mountain treks. Many tourists have had to be rescued after being stranded on the steep goat tracks while wearing flimsy summer footwear. In an effort to instill some common sense, the local national park authorities began levying substantial fines on anyone spotted on the trails without adequate footwear. Number 5. Ways to bring plastic to Capri. Capri's residents take great care in maintaining their lovely Italian island paradise picture perfect. As a result, it's no surprise that they follow the global trend of prohibiting single-use plastic. Plastic straws and cups will be prohibited in all of the island's restaurants and cafes. To help protect the island's natural beauty, tourists who are discovered with single-use plastics in their possession will face fines of up to 500 euros. So, if you're having a picnic on Capri, make sure you bring the traditional wicker picnic basket. Number 4. Overstaying your visit to the Taj Mahal. The UNESCO World Heritage Tomb in Agra is one of the world's most visited sites. In reality, up to 50,000 tourists every day enter the gates to marvel at the magnificence of the Taj Mahal. The visitor influx, however, is becoming unsustainable, making it nearly difficult to capture the obligatory selfie overlooking the reflection pool. As a result, authorities have begun putting tight time limits on site visits. You must not only pre-purchase your tickets, but you will also be denied entry if you do not arrive on time. Once inside, plan your tour carefully because you will only have 3 hours to enjoy the Taj Mahal's spectacular splendor. If you overstay your welcome, you will be fined on your way out the door. Number 3. Stepping on a Thai banknote. Thais adore their royal family, and their strong lèse-majesté law is strictly enforced against both tourists and natives. It is strictly banned under Thai law to make any derogatory remarks against the royal family. This includes making predictions about the king's health or defacing any image of the king. A violation of the lèse-majesté legislation can result in a lengthy prison stint. This includes stomping on a banknote with the king's visage printed on it. In Thailand, touching someone with your foot is considered the greatest insult. Hence, walking on a Thai baht is a violation of the country's lèse-majesté legislation. Number 2. Dressing in swimwear. Swimwear is the first thing we pack for a beach vacation in the summer. Some of us envision spending our entire holiday in our bathing suits. We are well aware of the requirement for concealment in several Asian and Middle Eastern countries. However, a handful of European countries are increasingly prohibiting the wearing of swimsuits away from the beach, like Venice, as already mentioned. Many locals are offended by tourists in various states of undressed strolling around their city. This includes not only bikini-clad ladies, but also shirtless guys. In 2011, for example, Barcelona began fining tourists who do not change before leaving the beach. If you go to the cafe wearing only your bikini, you could be fined 300 euros for being semi-nude. Number 1. Taking photographs. Taking photos to remember your vacation is a given. Many of us have shared them on social media long before we come home to share our adventures with family and friends. However, in some countries, taking a photograph can result in a fine, confiscation of your photographic equipment, and even imprisonment. In 2018, a British tourist in Egypt was arrested after taking an inadvertent airport photo that included a military helicopter in the backdrop. The French can also be a touch concerned about you photographing their security forces, so a cheerful snap with a gendarme could result in your camera being confiscated. It is forbidden in the UAE to take a photograph without the express authorization of any strangers in the background, whereas pictures of monuments and palaces are frowned upon in Saudi Arabia. Some memories are best preserved on postcards. Did you enjoy this video? If so, check out these other videos from Daily Top 10. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching.